Welcome back, guys. Baby Got Stacks. If you forgot what you were listening to, I will remind you.
I have scratches on the back of my book, too. Like, cat scratches.
Oh, that's a big... Well, it kind of looks like a shooting star, I'm not going to lie.
There we go. It matches then.
It kind of works out. Well, this week we did a rom-com book. I ate this book up. This was a good book. I really
enjoyed this book.
Oh my goodness. Now, this is not her debut. I know she has other ones.
No, I don't think so.
But this is the first in a series. Mm-hmm. I can't pronounce her last name. I don't know why. My brain won't compute that.
This is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez.
There we go. I sing in my head every time I read the book, or the front of the book.
I sing it as, I don't know if you saw on Disney Plus, there's Olaf Presents, and he does like...
I've heard of it. Things. I've heard of it.
You should watch it because it's hilarious. I just have Olaf singing Part of Your World in my head.
That's great. Those
are actually hilarious. I highly recommend watching those.
I'll need to read that or watch that. This book I finished very quickly. I also stayed up really late finishing it because I had to know the ending. This book made me laugh. I definitely teared up at the end.
I felt tears welling.
I wanted to strangle the dad 110%.
Oh my god.
And her ex. More the dad. More the dad. There were some people in this book that pissed me right off.
Yeah.
Also the baby goat.
The baby goat, honestly, and all of the names of the farm animals, incredible.
I read them out loud to my mom because I couldn't be the only one that knew this knowledge. There's also, I only tabbed one thing, and it was with Bree and Alexis. Bree and Alexis's relationship remind me of us too.
Of us, yeah.
Their banter,
hilarious. Exactly how we would talk.
It was fantastic.
So good.
Oh my
read the back, God. And then we can get into our favorite moments.
Yeah. After a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and a cuddle with a baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has had her world turned upside down. The cause, Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come. The complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis, and yet their chemistry is undeniable. While her ultra-wealthy parents want her to carry on the family legacy of world-renowned surgeons, Alexis doesn't need glory or fame. She's fine with being a mere ER doctor. And every minute she spends with Daniel in the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering just what's really important. Yet letting their relationship become anything more than a short-term fling would mean turning her back on her family and giving up the opportunity to help thousands of people. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and yet she can't just seem to give up the joy she's found with him either. With so many differences between them, how can Alexis possibly choose between her world and his? Also, I didn't know that the author is a Food Network winner.
Really?
She is.
I did not.
She is a Food Network winner and New York Times bestselling author. She founded Nadia Cakes out of her home kitchen back in 2007. The bakery has since gone on to win numerous Food Network competitions and has an international cult following.
Huh.
Thought that was crazy.
Wow. She wrote a damn good book.
She says Abby loves a good romance, coffee, doglets, and not leaving the house.
Same.
Yeah, I mean...
love this book. And it follows the traditional rom-com. They meet, fall in love, there's a conflict, a little personal growth, and happily ever after. So, we don't need to get really into the plot because
no,
that's how it goes.
Everyone knows a classic rom-com book. I mean, I think what made this was kind of how relatable the characters are. I mean, yeah,
Yes,
she
the
comes from like
characters.
wealth, but she just seems so real.
Yeah.
I loved the people in the town. I feel like this
Mm-hmm.
could be a series, like a TV series.
It could, and then just follow different people in the town.
Yeah.
I really liked it because they eventually saw their own flaws,
Yeah.
which, like, yeah, she's rich, and then she realized, oh, I don't know how to do anything. Like, she didn't
Yeah.
know how to cook or do laundry or
Hmm.
sweep. And
Yeah.
so, like, she's, like, thinking to herself, like, oh my God, my housekeepers must think I'm such a jerk because, like, I toss my shoes to the side, and it's, like,
Hmm.
I'm just a rich girl. But I loved how well we got to know the characters and their friends and this town and like all the little details of like knowing the farm animal names and like
It's so good.
knowing that one guy's moves, but he's gonna pull out a guitar and then he's gonna start singing.
Yeah, and then there's Liz, and she is, well, so she finds out that Daniel's the mayor of the town. So the Grants have
Yeah.
lived there for over 100 years. He lives in the, like, I don't even know, like, there's a studio apartment off of the garage basically that he made up for himself because he
Yeah.
can't afford to live in his third great grandfather's house because his mom had him at 15 and she just wants money. So when he was born, he was raised by his grandparents because as soon as his mom could drive, she left. And then he stayed in the house, obviously. And so when the grandparents died, they gave the house to the mom, probably hoping that maybe she'd get some common sense and come back.
Right. Like, oh,
She
I
did
don't have a
not.
house there now.
And so then he has to make it an Airbnb to have money because she asks him to send money every
Yeah.
week, I think.
Mhm.
And so also part of this book is the mom wants to sell the house and he says, "No, like you can't. This is where I live," and stuff like that. And so he said that he can get a loan, but he has to have a down payment of $50,000, and so he has to try to raise the money for 50,000, and so he's only allowed a certain amount of time before the mom's going to get bored and just sell it.
Yeah.
And that was another thing too, because Alexis was like, "Well, I'll give you the 50,000," and he's like, "No."
Yeah. My
She was like,
favorite, that
"Oh,
was one of my favorite scenes because she offered the money. He's like, no, I can't take that. And he was like, started laughing. She's like, what are you laughing at? And he was like, well, the fact that you just offered me $50,000 and I gave you a rock. Because he had spent all day looking for a good rock and he found one heart shaped and he gave it to her.
it's so cute." Also, I have the page with all the animals' names on it.
Yes, please read them.
So, first of all, the pig's name is Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Classic.
Then there's Scapegoat, which is Chloe's mom. Chloe's full name is Chloe Nosebleed because she's the baby goat. The chickens are Mother Clucker and Chickolas Cage. They're so good. There's Barack Olama.
Mm-hmm.
The miniature horse name is Al Capone. The rabbits are Rabbit Downey Jr. and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I feel like there was another one. Like was there ducks maybe?
I think there were ducks. Ducks sound right. But it was so good. Al
Oh,
Capone really gets me.
oh my God. Yeah. The Chickless Cage got me. That had me howling. And then just the way, so Hunter is Daniel's dog that he rescued.
Oh yeah.
It's a 6-year-old retired hunting dog. Um, and he realized that they didn't realize he was deaf. He just thought that he like wasn't trained well.
Like, oh.
And Alexis is like, he's deaf. He's like, he's what? And she's like, do you realize that he only like listens to you when you do commands with your hands?
Hand signals, yeah.
And he's obsessed with Alexis.
But
And
he
then
loves her.
he loves her. And then there's also kind of a hint of magic in the town.
A bit with the old man. What was his name? I forget.
Well, they call him Pop because he looks like
Pop.
Popeye.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once he sees Alexis, he goes up to Daniel and's like, "Oh, she'll be back." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, the town knows what it wants and it gets it."
Yeah.
And it turns out it needed a doctor.
Yeah. And also, so they're Daniel and Alexis live about 2 hours away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so one weekend, two of her friends are wanting to go to an Airbnb over the weekend.
Those bitches.
Okay, I hated them.
Hate them.
So, come to find out, so she doesn't tell anyone about Daniel. Alexis doesn't, except Bree. Bree knows about him because Bree's the only one that we care about, that she cares about.
Yeah.
It's the only, yeah. So these other two friends don't know about anything, and because their husbands are still friends with her ex, Neil, who is the general surgeon of the hospital that they all work at.
He was an awful, awful man.
Neil is very awful. Neil has been verbally abusive to her for years, and he cheated on her with, I think, the anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
And so she finally was like, oh, thank God, I have something to like break up with him over.
Yeah.
And so, but everyone's just like, oh, you're gonna get back with him. This is just a little thing.
The dad's like, you should just do marriage counseling, get over it.
Oh, the dad can. Oh, I've got choice words for that father.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So they then go the weekend to this Airbnb because she's like, oh, this place like opened up for spring term, which is like off season. I want to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Find out it's Daniel's Airbnb. So she has to pretend and like text him very quickly and like, I'm gonna pretend I don't know you. I'm very, very sorry. And like, of course, Hunter is freaking out, the dog.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, he must just really like me. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know your name at all. And so then at one point, like, the trees are shooting acorns at the woman, and it's great. I loved it.
Good.
And then they were gonna and then Hunter brings a squirrel into while we're eating, and they were gonna give him a 1-star review, and Alexis like freaked out on them.
Yeah, rightfully so. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then there's some banter between Bree and Alexis that
it cracks me up.
That had me laughing. She was like, the night that Alexis meets Daniel, she's coming back from a funeral from like her great aunt or one of her aunts or whatever, and there's this really weird fog that like never happens and in the town, and a raccoon crosses the road, which makes her swerve and go into the ditch. Well, Daniel comes to her rescue and gets her out of the ditch, and then she later sees him because she's hungry. It's late at night. She goes to the local bar that's the only thing open, sees Daniel with his friends, and his friends see her, and because it's such a small town, they're like, oh, like new meat, who we're gonna bet money who can take her home. So Daniel goes over to basically warn her as he's leaving, and she goes, well, what if I leave with you? And he was like, well, we can split the money if you leave with me. So she goes with him. He makes her a grilled cheese. She ends up sleeping with him, which is very like not the norm between both of them. Like they've never done that before. And then she freaks out because she had stole one of his hoodies. It had his license in it, and she saw that he was 10 years younger than her, and she ran out of the house, and she stepped in poop and got her shoe stuck. Just left her shoe.
She just kept going.
No
looking back.
So then she goes. She's at the nurse's station with Bree at work the next day, and she goes, "You should have seen how I came home." She goes, my dress was caked in mud. I had a snout print directly on my ass, goat fur all over me, because Kevin Bacon had gotten out, who lives kind of next door, That's where the petting zoo is, which is all these pets and names.
Yeah.
She goes, and then I stepped in a pile of dog poop and the motion sensor lights went on and I panicked, so I ran and left it there. And Bree goes, "You left your shoe?" She deadpanned, like Cinderella. And she goes, "Yeah, I did. And the hoodie I was wearing was camouflage." And she goes, "So you came home in a muddy $2,000 dress wearing one shoe and the camo hoodie?" And she goes, "That's correct." She goes, "Like an old McDonald walk of shame?" I was like, I love that.
One of my favorite parts, the whole dick pic debacle.
Oh my
and
God.
He's trying to take the dick pic, and the way Doug was like, I bet you're standing in the bathroom and you can see your shirt and like your shoes and like awful lighting, and he brought a ring light and he had Liz on the phone.
Who's his cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one, where is it? So she made it, the one that got me. I actually tapped it and I was trying to look, but Brie made a drink and came she was making drinks downstairs and came up to Alexis's room because Alexis had just basically like broken off with Daniel, and Neil was squatting in her house because he refused to leave, and her parents were being assholes, and there's like a whole thing, and so Brie was downstairs and
I measured with the heart.
That's what got me. And then she was like, yeah, so Neil was in the bedroom and Bree knocked and she goes, "Neil, you in the wrong room. There's some orphans downstairs. If you hurry, you can catch them. Tell them Santa isn't real." And then she came in with 2 salt-rimmed glasses and a pitcher. And she goes, "Margaritas, it's super strong. I measured the Patron with my heart." And then she goes, "What did Satan want?" And then they took a sip and she goes, "Oh my God." And she goes, "Wow, my check liver light just went on. I died."
Check liver light. I want to use that.
Died.
So good.
That's the only thing I tabbed in that entire book.
I need to go through and just tab Bree's moments, because towards the end, Daniel comes to congratulate her on her new position in the hospital and runs into her parents and how awful they are, and Neil. Mm-hmm. And like the dad's laughing because like there's no possible way his daughter's dating this guy, and he leaves, but Bree catches up with him, and like she's like, okay, like list off what happened, and she's like, oh, I met the parents, and we're like, oh yeah, that's unfortunate. Everyone who meets them is bad. And at the end, she's just like, well, I know she likes you because she talks about you, and she didn't show me your dick pic.
Right? Oh my God, I can't. Yeah, I was trying to find. God. Yeah, and then so also Alexis has a brother, but he actually was helping in Cambodia. He's a plastic surgeon, and he actually met a very famous artist there, and they got married, and she had to sign an NDA for him to tell her that he got married. Yeah. And yet everyone signed an NDA, and the dad was just like flaunting it like no one's business. I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, he just owned him.
Yeah.
He married someone like that.
That's true, yeah.
Wild. Oh, wow. I have the romance questions we usually do.
Okay.
All right. Tropes. Small town.
Yeah, I don't want to say close proximity because they're not that close, but definitely small town.
I would say opposites attract.
Yeah, because it's not really like friends to lovers or enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
Also, this book didn't have very much spice. I guess we'll get to that question. But...
Well, the next one is spice rating, so let's talk about it. There was fade to black for the first 2 times.
Like you got snippets, but not anything crazy, which worked. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
No.
Which shows that you can have a good romance book with no spice.
I want to read the second book.
I know, and it's about Bree.
Yeah, so it's about Bree, and oh my God, I want it. I
I'm
need it.
excited. I'm excited. Okay, couple believability. Or I guess we
Oh,
need to give it a spice rating.
like,
Ooh,
yeah. Yeah, because it has like
has a little bit.
it definitely talks about the buildup, but like it doesn't actually happen.
And like how they feel about it afterwards.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so couple believability. I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah.
Once I like saw if I knew how she actually behaved, just from the outside of like head surgeon and blah blah blah, that would
Yeah.
probably make me not believe it.
Yeah,
But neither
exactly.
did she. So
But she's not. Yeah, and oh my gosh, I was so like I wanted to slow clap when she like told her parents off. Oh my God.
and then walked up on that stage and did her
Her
speech so good.
her dad didn't even come to her wedding.
No, at least the mom did.
At least, but
Yeah.
still. God.
Slow burn question mark.
Yeah, meh. It's hard when they do it on the first night. Like that's
I know. I guess slow burn for them actually falling. I don't know. They fall pretty fast actually.
I would say slow burn for them to realize their potential with each
To like
other.
solidify a
Like with
relationship.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Oh, I get. What do you think happens to the lead after the ending? Well, they got married, and she's
And she gets
spoiler
pregnant.
alert, pregnant.
She is gonna have a baby. Yeah. And then was it Doug was wondering when Bree was gonna come around next because
Oh
he
yeah.
played the guitar for her.
What did she say to him?
I don't remember.
She said something funny.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, too far. Too far. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, Doug, if she knew where you lived, she'd burn your house down. And then Doug had followed Brianna around with his guitar at our wedding. She found a spray bottle full of water and used it for the rest of the night to squirt him when he got too close.
I thought maybe the second book would be about Bree falling in love with one of Daniel's friends and like them. I thought maybe Bree would move to that town to help.
I thought it was gonna actually be Doug.
It's not.
Kind of. No, it's not.
It's not. Also, spoiler alert as well. So she moves to the town, the small town, and they are opening. She opens. It's for like people that don't have access to um medical stuff
Yeah,
because
it's like
this
an
town's
outreach program.
yeah, kind of. And so she opens one, which she will run in the small town, and then they also open one in Cambodia that her brother and his wife are running as well.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was a good solution all around.
Yeah, and I just thought Bree would move and work there as like head nurse or something. I don't know.
Or something. Something. Well, would you fall for either?
Probably Daniel.
Probably Daniel.
Yeah, probably Daniel. He seemed like my type.
Alexis for her money.
And so I could be closer to Bree and have that banter because that was
so
impeccable.
Part of the series, yes. Will you read the next one?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to. So she has another series as well.
Oh.
I guess I could.
I haven't looked what else she's written.
She's written 3 more. I guess I could do my. Or you. Is there?
I can look it up.
Well, no, I've got it. I just want to make sure that there was any. I couldn't remember how many questions there were. I didn't want to be like.
The last one is how'd you like the writing?
Loved it.
I really liked it.
Fantastic.
They sounded like real people. They talked like real people.
I definitely want to read the second book, but I kind of almost want to like this could be an author where I just like automatically buy if this is how she writes.
Yeah.
So.
When before Part of Your World, what was the book she had released?
So she wrote. I wonder why. So there's I don't know what it's the Friend Zone series. So there's Life's Too Short, the Happy Ever After playlist, and the Friend Zone.
I've seen Life's Too Short in stores. I'm sure I've seen that at Target.
But for some reason, my Goodreads is only showing the second book.
Oh.
And I don't know why.
Are they
Also,
different? Are they cartoony covers?
well, for some reason when I go to the Friend Zone, like 3 Works, it has I don't know what language that's in. That's not
When Aus Funken Flamen
I think that's
Whirlen.
German.
Burning Secrets.
I think that's German. I'm very confused.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't understand
So
why. So life's too short. Let's see if I can find it on Goodreads. I definitely had, oh, see, and there it is. Why is that not, is my Goodreads being like super strange?
No, mine's like that too.
Okay, but when I search Life's Too Short, it says
It comes up.
Friend Zone number 3. Yeah. That's so weird.
That's so.
Okay.
Someone should fix that. Someone tell Goodreads to fix it.
Yeah, if the CEO of Goodreads is listening, get right on that.
You can personally deal with it.
So I think is that the second? Okay, so it goes the Friend Zone, the Happy Ever After playlist, and then Life's Too Short. That's It's very strange. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that made it a lot more difficult to see when these came out.
Well, Happy Ever After came out 2020.
Oh yeah, Friend Zone was 2019.
So it's probably 2019, 2020, then I'm assuming
21.
Okay.
And then, yeah, Part of Your World came out last year, and then Yours Truly came out this year.
That makes sense.
Okay. Well, at least that makes it easy to catch up on her works.
I don't know why it was showing me like all of them recently on Goodreads. I don't know why. Yeah.
Maybe it's glitching.
So Part of Your World has a 4.35 stars on Goodreads, has 143,049 ratings. Most people rated it 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 143,049 ratings, 510 of those are 1 star.
Are most of the ratings like either a 5 or a 1?
It's either a 5 or a 4. Like you can kind of see.
Oh shit. Damn. Yeah.
It's pretty much a 5 or a 4 at that point. There's like barely any ones. Let me see.
I don't remember if this won any Goodreads awards, because they do like a end of the year.
Oh, maybe.
Festive.
What a letdown, very boring plot with really annoying characters.
Oh.
Someone said poorly written. I beg to differ.
What?
Right?
I mean, I'm shocked
gross.
she was like a cook.
Yeah, someone said this is gross.
Gross.
I knew I wasn't gonna like this book, and here I am. Okay.
Well, you did that to yourself.
Age gaps aren't my thing. Okay, so I guess maybe.
Oh, I guess age gap. I mean, It doesn't come up often. There's not like something either of them do that's like blatantly young or older.
Someone rated 1 star. So you're telling me that this woman looked at this man's ID to check his birthday, but had no idea what his last name was?
Priorities. You think she saw the year he was born and like
she just
wasn't panicked?
Yeah.
And was calm enough to look at everything else on there?
Right? I know. Some 5 stars. I'm just slapping my head so hard. Why the hell did I wait so long to jump into this marvelous journey?
Oh.
Yeah. And someone's like, now this is the rom-com world I've been waiting for. Hallelujah. 5 stars. Heck, 6 stars. Grace costs you nothing. That was a big one in this book.
Yeah, that was a good quote.
Yes. Yeah. This book is so good, bro. What the what?
What?
Uh, this kind of gave me like Schitt's Creek vibes almost.
With the
Like how
town.
yeah, and how Alexis was like didn't know how to really do anything, but she was more like, I don't know, she wasn't snooty about it.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, not that Lexus was like completely dumb or anything, but like she wasn't working.
Yeah, she like
It's
came to her senses. She was like, "Oh wow," like, and she wanted to learn how to cook and she wanted to
yeah.
learn how to do stuff. And Neil used to put her down, and her dad
God,
also
that
put her
bitch.
down.
That dad's a bitch.
He's a horrible man, and
Horrible, horrible man.
it was so satisfying, like seeing the
I know.
rage in
I
his
was
eyes.
really hoping she'd tell him off, and I'm so glad she did.
Yeah, it was
I would have
very
been mad if
satisfying.
she was like, I wanted to say something, but I decided to be the bigger person. No, yell at him.
I know.
Do it.
Screw being the bigger person. Yeah, so I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this book. If you like a rom-com, I would 100% recommend it. I am easily going to look for the rest of her books. There's
Oh,
no doubt in my
yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Um, the writing was easy. It flowed well. I mean, it made me laugh. It made me
I
tear
read the
up
second
at
half.
the very end when he was like at the stairs. It's like, oh my God, this is such like a Cinderella moment. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
do
great.
have a question. So at the end, Neil apologizes and says the therapy was actually
Oh,
helping him
yes.
and that he sees why he was doing it.
Yeah.
Do you think, one, he genuinely actually took in the therapy and was like better?
I think if part of him, yes. Will he ever do anything bad again? Yes. But I think for him to continue to do that and also not tell the dad that they weren't going together
That's true. Yeah.
was a pivotal point. I mean,
Yeah.
the dad definitely saw Neil as more of a child to him than his own kid.
Yeah.
So it was pretty remarkable that he followed through. I
Right.
mean,
And
it
actually went to
doesn't,
every
yeah,
session.
and it doesn't give him like the green light, like, oh, he's just going to be a great person. No, he's probably going to be an asshole, but he at
Yeah.
least did that, and hopefully maybe he'll continue to go to therapy. I think what got me too was Daniel and Alexis like saying goodbye, like when
Yeah.
she called him and then like she left and then he cried, she
Yeah.
cried, and then he blocked her, and I was like,
I
that this is
know.
getting me. This is getting me. But no, I think Neil wants to do better.
Mm.
Hopefully he does, but we'll see.
I was gonna say, do you
Do you
think in
believe
his
it?
next relationship would he actually? I bel See, it's weird because he could be honest about it, or it could just be an even bigger like manipulative game where he's saying it
Yeah.
and like to lure it back in and then like slowly fall back into it.
I
I
think he's done
mean,
it for so long that it's second
it's
nature to
just
him.
habit.
Yeah.
And he said his mom did it, or like his parents did it,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of what he knows. So it's always gonna come out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he is honest. I mean, she thought he was being honest about it.
I love
I was shocked that he actually like wanted her back genuinely to try because I
he's an
thought he
idiot
would just kind of
thinking
let it
that.
go and like go find
Yeah.
someone else.
I loved that she was so like set in her ways that when he made her a quiche, she let it just get moldy and refused to move it on the counter.
Yeah, that's what
She's
I
like
do.
he put it there. He can get rid of it
He
himself.
can throw it away. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I love
And
this.
when like she finally tells him off in front of Bree, and Bree's like, "Oh my god, like you did it."
Also, I think too, what showed that he was growing a little bit was when Daniel came to the
Oh, that's right.
thing and
The hospital.
and he was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hi Daniel," and like shook his hand when the dad
Yeah.
just like laughed.
God,
I thought that
so
I was like,
glad.
okay, okay.
And I do appreciate this book for showing multiple sides of domestic abuse, because Liz, Daniel's cousin, was being physically abused by her husband.
Yeah.
And then we see, the other side of being verbally abused and how it's just as damaging.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's at the end of the book, but I was listening to the audiobook.
Oh.
And at the end of the audiobook, it gave a number for domestic violence victims and like gave a little spiel about that. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. It's just one of those touches. And I think she handled it well.
Yeah. I mean, definitely,
topic.
I will say probably trigger warning.
With domestic violence and abuse.
There is, at the very end of the acknowledgments, it says the average abuse victim attempts to leave their abuser 7 times before getting away for good. Many do not leave with their lives. If you or anyone you know is in need of help, please reach out to any of these organizations. So there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline. There's texting. There's National Resource Center on Domestic Violence. Strong Hearts Native Helpline. So there's like the website, the telephone, and the text, if it's easier to text. Also, there's the recipe for Daniel's crepes in the very back of the book.
In the back.
But yes.
Which makes more sense now that she's actually a chef.
Yeah, exactly.
And why he liked cooking so much.
But this book definitely shines light on it. It didn't get too deep into it. So
no, it didn't get like dark or
no
in depth. So it was still mentioned and highlighted, but it wasn't graphic or anything.
Yeah. And I think, doesn't Liz and Brian get together at the end too?
They had a date, or they were on a date.
They were on a date, yeah. Which was like, oh, I wouldn't mind.
And she didn't come home.
Reading about them. Yeah, and her ex Jake, I think was his name.
Jake.
Was the police officer, and so he was getting away with a lot of stuff. Well, now he's in jail for 2 years, and yeah. There was a lot of guys
like satisfying justice.
There was. Yes. There was
I appreciate that.
It was really good. Yeah. No, I
highly recommend. Oh, we never said our ratings. You guys guess.
I mean, 6 out of 5 at this point.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, this was fantastic.
Totally. I don't know when I'm going to be able to read the next book, but it's high on that priority list.
I know I need to find it.
If I see her backlog, I will totally pick it up.
But not the German ones.
Not yet. I haven't practiced enough German. So yeah, a little bit on the shorter side, but romance ones usually are. You can check out our Instagram, Baby Got Stacks podcast, to see the schedule of what we got going on this next coming month in August and the summer, wrapping it up. We have the Atlas 6.
Yeah, we're going to go fantasy again.
We're going fantasy again. Hopefully this one knocks Ashley's socks off. Oh, she's a little scared.
I'm scared a little bit, just because I really, I did not really care for.
I mean, we know there is fantasy for you. We just have to find the book.
Yeah. So, well, I recently bought Akhtar, so maybe that series.
Yes. We'll have to do that.
I only bought the first book because now I'm like, I can't.
See how it goes.
Usually, I'm the type of person that will buy the entire series before reading it because that's who I am.
That's who we are.
But this one I'm like, no, I'm gonna buy the first one because I want to see if I like it.
Because I think there's 5 out right now, and I still think more is coming.
Well, there's those, and then there's a different series.
Yeah, Sarah J. Maas has a whole interconnected world.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So
we'll get into that. But we're gonna try to get fantasy a go again, hoping Atlas 6 is gonna be a little bit better.
And you can check our posts put the schedule of what else we got going on in August in the link. We have a link in the bio that sends you to other places we're at, like Goodreads, of what we recently bought, because even if we're not book shopping, we're kind of book shopping.
Yeah. Our TBR grows constantly.
Oh, I don't want to talk about my numbers. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's
Yeah,
not going to happen in my lifetime.
Yeah, maybe once I retire.
Yeah, when I'm 80 and can retire, have some downtime.
Maybe once we own a bookstore, then we'll be able to.
That'd be beautiful.
It's still a goal.
It's still the
Someday.
dream.
Someday.
Still the dream. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But right now we'll read one book a week, and that will be good enough.
That will be managed. Give us a like wherever you are listening to us, and give us a follow.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.